Well, while you're setting up, James, what we're going to do is actually go around and get everyone to introduce themselves. I think it'll be a great way to actually, network right now and get people to talk to each other. So, for those who are new here and don't know me, you may have seen my emails. My name is Vanessa, and the Solopreneur Business Network was really a place or a community to help us, the small business owner, the solo business owner, get together and help each other. And today is the first webinar that we're going to host of a series of webinars that we plan to put forward to actually put this community into a good momentum of helping you bring your business online. So I'm really excited that we're going to start this, and also that you're here. And it's really great to have your support as well. And if for some reason you're unable to stay for the rest of the webinar, we are going to have a replay of the webinar up to 48 hours afterwards. So thank you for being here. And if you are actually trying to get in, I encourage you to click on the YouTube link that I've just popped into the chat box. If you're unable to get in, you'll still be able to watch the videos, and any questions, put them in the chat box, and I'll read them across to James as he presents. So James, just before you get on, I'm just going to quickly go around along the panel. So just to introduce yourselves. So I'm going to click here on Ricky.
Hi there. Can you hear me there, Vanessa?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you. So I'm Ricky Collins from a little company myself called Good Decision Limited, a company really just starting out, looking to provide consultancy and facilitation services for companies looking to make complex decisions.
Which is, I'm sure, all of us need as well. Okay, Narelle? Hi, Narelle. We can't hear you, Narelle. Okay. Narelle, we're just going to move along to John while you sort out your audio. Okay? Okay. John, say hello.
Hey, how you going, everybody? My name's John Hawken. I have a small consultancy business based in Hamilton, and services I provide are business and technical writing and training and development.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, John. And John was actually one of our very first, actually the first webinar that we hosted, isn't that right?
Yeah.
So you're back now into the first webinar for 2016, and hopefully we'll get you on board as well, because we hadn't actually finished the rest of the topics that you had prepared.
Sure. That'll be cool.
So thank you, John. So we're going to go back to Narelle. Hopefully she has sorted out her audio issues. I'm going to click back to you, Narelle, and hopefully you get to introduce yourself. Okay. All right. Narelle's just saying the mic isn't working for some reason.
Just give you Narelle, hover up on top of the call, and you should notice some icons up there, one of them being a cog, like a cog. Yeah, click on that, and it should bring up a settings box. And in that settings box, there should be a bunch of icons. One will be your webcam, and one will be like a microphone-looking icon. Can you just give me the thumbs up if you see that? Yep. No. Alongside a couple of icons down there is that little cog-looking icon. If you click that, go in there and just check. It might not be set to actually use the proper microphone on your computer.
Okay, what about now?
We can hear you now.
Oh, okay, cool. I was just going to go with the fact that Something
Awesome.
weird was happening. Okay, so just quickly then, I'm Narelle Stewart. I run a business, NS Designs, which does mainly costume and clothing design, and been doing it for a long time, but I'm kind of looking at putting a whole new focus this year on getting everything online, so it's opening online stores and doing pre-mades and stuff. So yeah, so it's kind of exciting because it's a whole new thing really. So, yeah, so that's me.
Great to see you, Narelle.
Thanks.
So I guess now it's over to you, James. I'm going to pass the microphone on to you.
Alrighty, well, yeah. For everyone that doesn't know me, I apologise. I look absolutely shabby. I've been unwell the last couple of days. So I've kind of just got a replacement laptop in first thing today. I've been running around getting it all set up, running around trying to get a heap of things done. So thank you to Vanessa for helping me pull the last little bits together this afternoon to get the webinar up and running. But anyway, my name's James Thompson. I'm an award-winning web designer, web developer, and the official solopreneur business owner of 2015. I am a IT engineer by trade. However, I design websites, provide hosting platforms, provide internet solutions for a living. I own a business, or two businesses. I own Thompson Web and Design, which is now run from my snuggly little home here in Tauranga in the Bay of Plenty. And I also own a second web design firm over in Taupo called Tailored Site Design, which I took over late last year. I was working originally as one of the developers for them, and then I've advanced to becoming the owner of that business. And so I now operate those two businesses here in the country. And I'm trying to think anything else. Yeah, I think that's all about. That sums up pretty much what I do.
Great. Any questions for James? Or shall we leave that till the end of the Q&A section of the presentation? I guess everyone's...
Yep. That sounds fine.
Yep, let's go with that.
Okay. You're okay to do your screen share, James?
I can try. Now, let me just fire back on. I haven't even got one of my second screens set up, so I can't screen share properly, so just bear with me. I won't be able to see any of you guys when I screen share, but that's right, we'll survive.
I'll be your eyes.
Alrighty, yeah, just bear with me. I'm just separating browser windows so I can actually screen share with you guys.
Okay. Hello to Helen here. I can see inside the room. For those that weren't able to get in the room, hello. If you're seeing this, James has now got his PowerPoint up, and we're going to transfer it back to him.
Alright, so, and you're probably curious why the slideshow might be saying Delta Tech NZ. The reason for this is, as of the 1st of April, my businesses are going to be merging into one big business called Delta Tech New Zealand, and we're bringing back broadband services, phone services, all those little bits that kind of round it all up for a customer to have everything in one place. We're going to be aiming to be the #1 stop for all your online solutions. So that's why it says Delta Tech NZ. Alrighty, so anyway, so as you probably already know, tonight's webinar is about introducing websites to new online business owners. I see a lot of business owners that don't know how to approach, don't know how to take the first steps towards getting a website, and I'm seeing a lot of business owners unfortunately getting given the wrong information or making a lot of costly mistakes along the route to getting a website up and running, and that's where online experts like myself and Vanessa step in to try and provide the best advice that we can to help new online business owners make the correct choices that are cost effective and solutions that work for them to help them get online, get their business running well, and create a profit-worthy website. So, yes, as I was explaining earlier, I am an award-winning web designer and developer. I've been working in the IT industry now for a numerous amount of years. For a while, I was a network engineer for the Ministry of Education, department of the government. I have since started my own business, and it's grown and taken off. I now run my 2 businesses as well as work for a food company here in the Bay of Plenty, more or less to kind of keep me stimulated and keep me busy, because of the fact that I have a lot of staff now that I have time to kind of do other tasks. And I've been worked with numerous amount of businesses from just locally here in the Bay of Plenty in Tauranga to up in Auckland, down in Christchurch, and I've even got some customers as far as San Diego, California. So in tonight's webinar, we're aiming to cover why is it essential to have a website, the platforms that are best to create your website on, how to get started with a website, and then after that we'll have an amount of time to have a question and answer session. So firstly, from my point of view, and keeping in mind that it might be a bit biased because I'm already a website developer, it's what I do by trade, but I've definitely seen the big positive side of having a website is people can find you. You can have Facebook, you can have Pinterest, you can have Twitter, you can have Instagram, you can have Snapchat, you could have all those social media platforms combined, but the first place that people are going to look at Google, and that's where having a website available comes in and plays a big part in being able to gain business, as your website is your first point of creating an experience with the customer or the end user to who you are, what you do, and how professional you are. If your website, and that's something that I will talk about a little bit later, but pretty much that's why we work with customers to ensure that they can have a positive experience to create their website for themselves, as well as creating a positive experience online for their new possible customers, because your website is your first impression with your customer, and as everyone knows, your first impression is what counts the most. And Vanessa, would you like to share anything on that, with your experience?
Yeah, sure. And as from my experience working in the virtual world, a lot of my colleagues, we all talk about, do you need a website? So this exact same question. And I wanted to share as well from a different perspective that some of the colleagues I have seen are actually jumping into the industry or into the virtual world without a website. So what I'm saying is going to at least probably prompt some discussion, because people sometimes actually go and get into just have a social media page, could be just a Facebook page without a website, or maybe you're dealing with corporate customers and you might just only want to put up a LinkedIn page, which is fine. And I know that there is still, a visibility for you online by being on LinkedIn. So there is a plus to being online. At least you have a place to be. If you've got LinkedIn and haven't yet gone down the track with a website, eventually, as James has mentioned, all those places belong to LinkedIn or Facebook. Having your own website is actually like your home online. It's like building your own home online. And often the question that potential customers ask me is, can you give me your website? So it is something that you feel like, can you give me your website address? It's your business address online. So I think it is crucial to have. But if you're really just, kind of unsure at the moment, and if you've got a LinkedIn page or a Facebook page, I think that's a good start. But we'll encourage you to actually get a website up and running. That's my perspective, and I guess from my own personal experience, because I love websites, I actually jumped on with a website. Any thoughts around that? Shall we pass back to you, James, to continue on, and we can save for the Q&A at the end?
Yep, we'll move on. So something I get asked a lot is, where do I create my website? How expensive is it? How much should I be spending on my website? How long does it create a website? How easy is it to create a website? And a million other questions. as you are all probably very familiar with, there are some options out there now that it's really confusing about how to go and create your website. 5 years ago, someone would just mock up a website in Microsoft Publisher, and publish it on the World Wide Web, and that's how you would get found. However, we're now 5 years down the track, and it's such a big problem that there's been a lot of solutions created for it. However, now it's very confusing. So some of the free to low cost options that I recommend, it really depends where you want to start. I have encountered a lot of people using platforms such as Wix and Weebly. They're good platforms to kind of get started on. However, they're not platforms that I would recommend to stay on. If you just wanted to get started and you want to put a website on there for a couple of months, then that's your best option while you're first starting out and you haven't got a lot of money to roll with. Then Weebly's your best bet. It's not really going to cost you anything than a monthly plan cost and a domain name cost, which is usually with most providers about 25 New Zealand dollars. When it comes to...
Sorry, James, I just wanted to interrupt there. If you can explain what a domain is for those that are brand new to this.
Yep. So a domain is the address on the internet that people would find you from. So, for example, one that people are very familiar with is www.facebook.com. That's a domain name. That's your address on the internet. It's like having the difference. The best way to explain it is, say for example, someone wants to send you a letter. They've got to have your address. So you give them 123 Cool Street in Auckland. Now it's the same with your website. When people need to find you, there's an address that your website needs to be living at, and that's where your domain. That's what your domain name is the address that people use to find your website.
Okay.
So, moving up, when we're looking at low to mid-range platforms, this is where I would begin to introduce the likes of WordPress. Now, people would argue, no, WordPress is a free to low cost option. The reason why I call it low to mid-range is, realistically, you should be investing, if you're going to be investing a bit of money into your website, WordPress would be falling in this range, keeping in mind that it's DIY. WordPress is a very flexible solution. It is used by millions of websites all throughout the World Wide Web, including hundreds of mine that I've built. It's even used by some companies or some places such as Time.com. You may have heard of them. They're a very big international magazine. I'm trying to think who else I know that uses it. Well, there is many companies out there that do use it. Many big New Zealand companies that use it. It is a very great platform. It's very easy to work with. If you can use such programs as Microsoft Office Excel or Microsoft Office Word, then you can use WordPress. Something that I will note though is, don't get confused. There is two versions of it. Most people get confused because there's a WordPress.com version. You don't want to be using the .com version. It is a version of, it's a trap is the best way to explain it. It's always, if you get confused, never hesitate to contact a professional and just get advice. But coming from myself, always get a WordPress.org website. When you go to get a website set up like this, you can talk to what's called a hosting provider that would need to host your website. Now we'll cover that in a second, but you would talk to a hosting provider, say, hey, look, I would like a WordPress website. Can you set it up for me, or how do I go about setting it up? I'm sure that they will be able to help you, because every hosting company operates slightly differently. And yeah, but there's so many there's so many themes out there that you can use, which are the designs that go on the website. So many plugins that can go into the sites, which are add-ons to WordPress to make it more and more powerful. I know one of my sites is running something like 250 plugins, and it's a pretty powerful website. So you can just imagine how much you can create with WordPress. It's a very awesome system to work with. Now, if you're wondering what a hosting provider is, that is a company that has the technology to host your website on the internet. So just like you, with a house, you have a landlord that owns it. We're the landlords that own the space where your website needs to go. So we're the people that will charge you a monthly or yearly fee to provide space on our servers to give your website a place to live and breathe and be found by customers that are looking for you. So has anyone got, before I move on to the high end, has anyone got any questions around that, or should we just roll on?
No, I'm good.
All right, so
I'll probably ask on behalf, because I know there were some solopreneur mums who said that they weren't able to make the live session, but they do have some questions. So if you don't mind, James, because you mentioned, for those that are not aware, from the free to low cost options, you mentioned Wix and Weebly, and then we moved on to the low mid-range DIY, and that was WordPress. So you did mention things like plugins, themes. Can you explain what those are?
Yep, so that was one of the things that I was trying to cover, but unfortunately it was a bit hard to put in there in words just in the what I was talking about then. But themes are the designs that are created for websites, and you can use these. There is millions of themes out there available. They some of them are pink, some of them are red, some of them are blue, some of them will have a certain focus on one, on certain type of companies. Some will have focus on the other type of companies. There is many options out there available to suit many people. A lot of them now come with drag and drop builders, making it even easier to DIY your own site. And I can't really think of any other better way to put it. If you can add on to that at all, Vanessa.
Yeah, sure. I think, you put it nicely. Just to add on, I usually see a theme as a sort of a style, really. If you're into the rock and roll style, you can bring a theme that suits that. If your theme is corporate, then, that's the closest I can put it across as into everyday person type language, not from a web developer's perspective, I guess. So I hope that kind of makes it easier to understand for the mums that are watching this later in the replay.
And if you do have any questions, feel free to via the Solopreneur Business Network page message, or join us on the Solopreneur Business Network group. And I'm around day and night, literally day and night. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have about that if you're watching this in the replay. So, and just covering plugins, I did cover them a bit before, but more or less, they are just an add-on to the website. Some of them are free, some of them do cost. However, most of them are very affordable, although you will find a lot of these plugins or add-ons when there is a fee for them, they are charged in United States dollars rather than New Zealand dollars. If someone was to find a New Zealand dollars plugin, I'd be very interested to look at, but that's another subject. But yeah, you will find that a lot of online stuff for WordPress, if it does cost, it will be charged in USD. This is just because of the fact that a lot of the people that make it are based out of the US or put it through US providers to buy them. So just keeping that in mind, that some of them do cost, not all of them are free. The ones that cost will provide a little bit more things to add on to your website. However, there are so many free ones out there now that the use of paid plugins / add-ons is very rare. And moving on to the high-end area of things, I'm very touchy when I get to high end because I see a lot of people getting ripped off. With all due respect to all other providers out there, I see a lot of people getting ripped off. A lot of cowboys calling their platforms high end and charging tens of thousands of dollars and poorly delivering what I'd expect another developer to charge $1,000, $2,000 for. So I'm very cautious when I approach the subject. However, there is some recommended providers out there that I do or have personally worked with and that I would recommend. One of the high-end platforms that I would recommend, they're actually owned and operated out of Cambridge. I don't know if some of you have been there. I was born and brought up in Cambridge, but they're an awesome New Zealand cloud website service.
I believe John's from around the area.
Yeah, well, I'm with you, James. I grew up in Cambridge also.
Ah, awesome. Yeah, beautiful little town, isn't it?
It is.
But yeah, so Rocket Spark's actually based out of Cambridge. Their servers are based in Auckland, but the actual team's based in Cambridge. They do cost 45 plus GST a month to run their system. However, it is very easy to drag, drop, build. They're very easy to get a hold of. Their support team is absolutely amazing. One of my mates that I actually worked with before we both moved on to different things, he is now actually a developer at Rocket Spark. So they have a very awesome team constantly working on their platform and making it better and better. And yeah, it is costly, but it is a beautiful platform made right here in New Zealand that's got great support behind it and is very easy to use and works on all devices. And they can also get professionals to design it for you. However, it can rise anywhere up to about $15,000 to get a website custom or professionally designed for Rocket Spark. Another provider I have worked with is Website Builder, or formerly Website World. They are a DIY platform / solution, also based here in New Zealand. They're not as expensive as Rocket Spark, however, I would still put them in the high-end area as they are a little bit more costly compared to other service providers, but they're still a great service provider here in New Zealand. They have a fully online cloud managed system that you can use to manage your website, edit it, add new things on, take things off, run shops out of. Their system even lets you manage your email addresses and your domain names all in the one area, so it's very easy to use. A very friendly team. They've got 0800 numbers that you can ring them on, if you have any questions. So they're another service provider that I would recommend to sit in the high-end range. And yeah, those are probably the only two high-end platforms that I would recommend. Funnily enough, both being from New Zealand, but yeah, the only ones I would recommend if you were looking at spending that kind of money. And yeah. Some of the key advantages between the platforms, so you're free to low-cost options, which are Wix and Weebly. Although they are great to start out on, they are actually really bad for lack of futures. You will find a lot of professionals who will advise against using them, and there is a reason for that. A technical term that you hear getting thrown around a lot is SEO, or search engine optimization. This is pretty much a tool that is used to help get you further up on Google and get you found. These platforms are very bad for these tools, and when Google sees that you have a website on these platforms, it tends to push your site down further in the search result rather than having you higher, even if you do a lot of work, because Google is very anti-free platform. It doesn't like free. It doesn't like the word free. It would rather that you spent a bit of money on your website and actually went a little bit further to get it found. So that is probably one of the key disadvantages of those of the free to low cost options. However, the key advantage is it's quick, it's easy, it's cheap, or it's even free if you really want to go budget, and you can get up and running very quickly with it. Moving to the low to mid range, some of the disadvantages is it does take a little bit longer to get up and running, and there is a little bit more costs compared to it. However, the advantages is it's a lot more powerful. There's a lot more that you can do with it. The support, the options is immense. Like there are so many solutions out there that it works, or it works greatly for the price that you pay. Yeah, there's probably a million more advantages I could list. Vanessa, if you want to weigh in at all on that.
Sure. I think with the low to mid range, where the focus was around WordPress, to me, if you're really serious to be in the online space in the long run, that's a key advantage because you've got the flexibility to throw in a lot more functionalities. Hence why we're getting James on board to help with the redevelopment of the Solopreneur Business Network website. I guess, looking at where you want your business to go, the low to mid range and going with WordPress is probably where I would put my vote. Still having the affordability for a small business owner, but also the flexibility to actually expand online. That's what I'd add.
And one platform I didn't list before, which I don't know if she is watching because I'm hidden behind the slides, but Deb from Site Design and Hosting. One platform that she's based down in the beautiful Hawke's Bay, and I believe it's Havelock. I never remember exactly where she's based, but that would also be another platform that if she was here that she would probably chuck in. That's in the low to mid range. It's easy to work with, and and a lot of people also use that platform. However, personally, I don't like it, but that's being me as a bit of a biased web developer. So it's just another option to keep in mind. The high-end platforms or options, disadvantages is it costs a lot, and I mean like a lot compared. Say for example, let's go to a low to mid-range option. The most you're probably going to pay is about 150 to 200 a year. You go high end and you're looking at an easy for anywhere from $400 to $1,000 per year to have your website running. However, the key advantages is it does come with a lot of features, and there are some great support behind those systems. So that's your toss up on the high end. Is it's going to cost you a lot more, but there's some really great support behind it. So if it's a price that you're willing to pay, then the support and the tools that come with it are definitely a huge pro in that decision. And that's really all the key advantages and disadvantages I can think of that. So so let's just roll on to the next thing. So a lot of people ask me, how do I get started with my own website? Do I do it myself, or do I DIY, or do I pay someone else to do it? It's really, at the end of the day, it comes down to you. It depends on what you really want in your website. If you're wanting it up in a reasonable amount of time with powerful features, but you don't really know how to do it, then I would probably recommend to be paying someone to do it, so it's built properly and that it works, and that when it goes, or when you go to launch it, that it will be functional and you're not going to have the risk of it breaking down on you on day one. Because I get a lot of people that try and DIY their own huge sites, and they launch it on day one, tons of people go onto it and something will break because it hasn't been set up properly. But when it comes to smaller websites, just like little shops or a little bit of information sites, then I definitely recommend DIY as the way to go. Or even if you've got a couple of months on your hands and you want to build your own site, then I would I would recommend to DIY. Get familiar with the system, and you can have fun while doing it. It's a very low cost option, and you can create some awesome things out of it. I know customers which I've given hosting and a theme to, and a paid theme, and I say, go hard, design your own site, and they're coming back to me within a week and going, oh, we're all done now, I like my site. So it just goes to show that it is such an easy system to build on. Or systems are so easy to build on if you've got the time or you're willing to do it. Then you definitely can DIY yourself. I've seen so many people do it, and and some great designs from it. However, when you're going big, better, and you're wanting some really cool stuff or really powerful stuff, but you don't know really how to, or you're not confident with it, then I would definitely pay someone else to do it rather than taking the risk of things being broken or not set up correctly. Because there's a lot that comes with setting up a website. But I think I'll leave that for now because that's a very in-depth topic. So items that you'll need when you're getting started is you'll need a domain name. So like we were discussing before, that is your address on the internet. That's how people find out where your website lives. You're going to need a hosting provider. Now, I definitely recommend shopping around when you're looking for a hosting provider and making sure that they're going to follow through with the support that you need and that they provide the services that you need. Keep in mind that there is different types of website hosting. There is shared hosting. There is there is a platform called VPS hosting, and then there is dedicated hosting. Most websites will work very well on shared hosting. However, the bigger you get, the different kind of hosting that you're going to need, which we will cover in further parts of SBM or another time in an SBM webinar. And you'll also need to know what platform you're going to work with. Say, for example, you're going to use, like we discussed before, Rocket Spark or Website World, then you need to know that those are the platforms that you will be working on. You won't be going to a hosting provider. You'll be working with directly those platforms and building it on there. But if you're working with something like WordPress or OpenCart, then you'll need to go back to a host and say, this is what I want. This is my domain name. Can I please get set up with a website, and how much is it going to cost me? And like I was saying, definitely shop around. Make sure that they provide the support that you need and that they're affordable. I know personally I host a lot of sites myself, and we run very big technology, bigger than most New Zealand companies do, and we charge a lot less compared to what other New Zealand companies do, because we're not personally in it for the profit. We're more in it to be able to provide a positive experience. But carrying on, also getting on to the other parts of it, so your logo / branding and the business style / colors. It's not really required in a website. However, I personally feel it plays a big part in the websites and how your website's going to look and feel. If you don't know what your logo and your business colors are, then how are you meant to know what you're going to present yourself at, as your branding tells your story? As I believe Vanessa would probably very easily agree with me there. So yeah, it was actually a discussion I was having with her earlier before this webinar, was that your branding and your style of your business or company is definitely one of the valuable assets of any company, and making sure that you have that ready before you approach getting your website done is probably one of the big factors that I can't stress enough about, because it will help both yourself design a website, and it helps a professional even more design a website, because they know what kind of look you're going for and they know how to go about it. Whereas if you have no logo, no branding, it can be a bit of a struggle to be done. And yeah, I believe that is all of our topics covered there. So yeah, does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask?
I do. Okay, can I go? Yeah.
Yeah, go hard.
Okay, so, and they were just sort of saying, because I'm kind of making changes and stuff to how I'm kind of focusing my business now. Totally get that obviously I need to have a website, and at the moment, and for years, like I've just had a static page, which has worked for me because it's really just have my contact details and it just links to, you know, Facebook and whatever, everything else just links through from there. So my question is, I've gone and started up some online shops. So I've got one through Etsy, which seems going to be separate, and then I've just joined onto Shopify, which I'm finding with them, I'm actually getting to design an actual website, which will be then, it hooks, which I quite like, so I guess it hooks with my Facebook and I can shop, and that's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting something set up so people can just buy their stuff. So my question on that is, you can link in, add in like my URL so that I just use my website address that will take them straight to that. And my dilemma is going, shall I just keep my website separate? Because at the moment, like, that's just through free parking. I just pay a once a year fee to have my domain name, and that includes just my static page. So should I, for now, because obviously I'm on kind of still zero budget for a little bit, you know, for this year.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Is that something that would work if I just added all these links and left the page as a static, or do you think that I should?
I definitely recommend, as a professional, having it all located in one place. Free parking is actually one of the most expensive providers in New Zealand.
Right, okay.
And it's one that we advise against working with, just simply because of the fact that the charges that they do charge is quite outrageous. There's lots.
That's who I've always been with, so I don't know any different, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, that's one of the things that we're here to try and help with, is advise what's best and what's not. Free parking, although they are great, they do charge a lot. Like, they charge, I believe last time I checked, it was about $39, $40 plus GST for a single domain name. Whereas I know other companies.
It is a lot of money, because,
Yeah.
I agree
Whereas
with
other
James,
companies are only charging probably about $21.50 plus GST.
Oh, wow.
You're being double billed.
And I've got like actually 3 domain names and emails. So I've got quite a bit of stuff that I do through them. So I guess it would definitely add up when I'm doing all of that.
Oh, no, definitely. Well, feel free to poke. I have seen you around in the still up in your business network, so feel free to pop your head in and come have a chat, and I can definitely. I'm more than happy to.
The other thing too, and that's why I'm probably actually, and funnily enough, for the fact that I'm just saying I'm on zero budget, not paying anything. I'm obviously paying, because I've actually just changed over to Spark Business, because then it comes with a website. Now, I haven't even used it, and I'm paying putty like I think it's about $30 a month, and I'm not even using it.
Yeah, no,
so I'm
definitely.
like, I need to look off that. So
after the session, feel free to.
I'm not doing anything.
After the session, feel free to pop your head into the SBN group, and I can organise to have a one-on-one phone call with you, break down everything that you're spending your money on, what your platform's on, and this goes for anyone else in the call right now or that watches the replay. I'm more than happy to offer a free, anything up to a 60-minute consultation, going through figuring out what's best for your business, and breaking down the costs and seeing if there's a cheaper solution out there to work for you. Because like I was saying, free parking is probably one of the most expensive platforms to work with.
That would be amazing, because I'm definitely, like, just in a nutshell, like, I'm focusing on the costumes, but I got stung by spending a fortune on a website when I started my yoga brand, and I've actually ended up having to shelve it because the website just ended up being a disaster. It's been pulled down, so now I've got no websites. There's no point selling the stuff, so I understand, how necessary a website is. And so that's why I thought, well, the costumes, let's just focus on that and get that tidied up, and then I'll know, easier to add things on. So, that'd be good, because I guess then I can see where to be aiming towards, and, like, if I'm just starting all these extra forums, then, I can kind of hopefully try and do it the right way instead of having a really big mess when I need someone on board with me. So
definitely. Well, no problem. I'll happily go through and we'll figure it out. Because Spark are another very expensive provider, especially for smaller businesses. If you were going to go with a provider for your emails and your hosting, definitely look at I always recommend, believe it or not, I actually recommend to go international. If you're going to host, go international, because New Zealand providers are very expensive. They are great support. They are located here in New Zealand, but they are very expensive. So if you're willing to fork it out and have the speed, then yeah, New Zealand providers are great. But just keep in mind that they are the most expensive providers. Yeah, because it's just very expensive to have technology here in New Zealand.
Yeah, I guess it's that. It's something that I obviously know nothing about, so it's the only price I've known, so I didn't really know.
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand that.
I started with them with one thing, and I just keep adding. Obviously, it's just been easier to all be in one space, but.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's something that I'm more than happy to. I'd
rather go with someone that I know that just guess a random that I don't, and then it turns out worse. So.
Yeah, no, definitely, I can understand that. Well, yeah, like I said, if I fire for a message on the group, and I'll pop in and have a chat to you, and yeah, we can go from there.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
For other people that are watching as well, the replay afterwards, because Narelle's situation, she's selling a product online, she's looking at setting up a shop, and she mentions that she was checking out Shopify, so that's a different platform as well, which I suppose we hadn't quite touched on. Correct me if I'm wrong, James, but I guess WordPress, the reason being that because James already mentioned WordPress, and I suppose James can add on to this that WordPress can do your shop much more on a cost-effective way using plugins like WooCommerce, and cost you much less.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So the yoga we arranged, I used WordPress for that, so I did learn how to kind of do all of that. But I think with it's just this came up as an option to just try that I thought, oh, is this actually easy? Because I was a little bit, figuring it out for myself, whereas this one, I mean, I just thought it's a good starter. Shopify pretty much comes with free support.
Yeah, no, definitely understandable. I know don't get me wrong, Shopify is a great platform. However, it can work out costly. I know a shop down in Christchurch. That shop horror, they're paying $400 a month to have their website on Shopify. So the bigger you get, the more expensive it gets, if you get what I mean. Hence why I kind of recommend down the WordPress or something. Yeah, definitely. So yeah.
Because you are planning to expand, isn't it, Narelle? So hopefully as you expand, your costs still remain, rather than expanding along with your business.
Yeah, that's very true. It's probably looking like it's cheap now, but I'm not looking at what that's going to mean when it grows. So, yeah, very good point. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Anyone else got any questions?
James, Ricky here. My business is why I've avoided going down the website path at this stage is that it's kind of like I'm doing stuff that people don't know what they don't know. So I'm trying to think of ways where a website, someone might be searching for something that they think they need, but it could do a little bit like Amazon does and saying, well, actually, have you thought about this? Is the ways that website hosts can point people that start off in a different direction down your path as possibly a better solution for what they're trying for?
Yep, so that's actually a very good question. So it can work in different ways, but really that's what a website is super vital for. Is it doesn't just have to be under one term that people search for. People could use 20 different terms, and your website can still come up in the same search. It's all about how you choose to build your website and what you focus it on. I get a lot of people that come to me and go, oh, we just need a basic website. And I go, okay, cool. We sit down, we have a coffee, we chat, we figure out what they need, and then at the end we're going, well, actually, you need this, this, and this. You thought you needed this, but actually you're going to need this, this, and this to achieve that. And that's the same with any website. Is you're not necessarily always just selling one product. I know how that is because we're, as of 1st of April, we're expanding to having broadband, to having phone lines. Our website hosting, our website design services, you name it, we do it. We'll be doing a lot, but it's pretty much comes down again vitally to your brand, about how you portray it, how you advertise yourself to your customers, and that's where your website can play a big part in your first impression. One of the big questions that you want to be able to have available on your website is, can my customers see that I consult, I can help, create solutions to their problems, or that I can help guide them down the right path. It really just comes down to how you put your website together, and to make sure that you're portraying the right message across. But yeah, no, a website can definitely help to portray to customers that might not know really what path to step down. A website can be a great way to get yourself out there and say, hey, my name's Joe Blog, and I'm a business consultant. I can help you, guide you down the right path and make the right choices.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay, the other question I had was looking at websites. From my experience, looking at them is the currency of your website is so important. There's nothing worse than looking at stuff that is years old and hasn't been updated. You got any hints about how you actually keep that currency alive, or avoid coming up with websites that are prone to that looking so bad?
Yep, definitely. So one of my top tips is, well, I know a lot of people that work on their website day in, day out, and I say, I know that feeling because I'm one person that, is always constantly working on my website, making it better and better. But definitely I think a lot of it is just kind of reviewing it every 6 to 12 months and going, does this still portray my message? How does it look against my competitors? And what kind of design is very common in my industry. And so we focus on client websites every 1 to 2 years, just as a quota. So probably every 2 years we look at doing a fresh revamp on a website and giving it a tidy up and giving it a new design. But yeah, any longer than that, I probably wouldn't suggest leaving a website sitting for, because it can begin to make your website look quite old, because the technology, or what's called cloud technology, is now changing so fast that there's daily advancements and designs are changing on a daily basis. So yeah, it's definitely good to probably keep a quota of 1 to 2 years max, on updating your website design. So yeah, and when it comes to the content side of things, I would probably recommend every 3 or so months just to go through and tidy up your content a little bit, and maybe just give it a bit of a change to look fresh. Because believe it or not, people will notice when content has changed on your website. You might think that they'll just walk straight through, and they'll think, because they look at the design, they'll think, oh, it's the same old website. But as they scroll more through your website, they go, oh, hang on, there's been some changes here. Let's have a read. And it helps to also keep customers on your website and prevent them from bouncing away, and going to look at other websites.
If I could add to that, James, to help with Ricky's question as well. So you were talking about the currency of it, and immediately I thought about how fresh your content is. So, and it is a really good question, because like you mentioned before that as well, how would you be able to come up if a customer is, just like Amazon, if they're searching for something else, you're kind of coming up as a suggested solution. So to me, it sounded like an SEO, which is a search engine optimization terminology. It really has to do with how fresh your content is and the keywords that you want to be attracting the customer. So if they type in, how do I make a good decision? Do you want to be one of the people that pop up on the first page? Because I know your business is called Good Decisions. Could there be another way to word good decisions that people could possibly put in? Maybe resolving problems. Could that be another terminology that you put on your website to be optimized for, that you'd want to be put in as a suggestion? So, and as James had mentioned, that's all part of your whole website, and that's at the planning phase. It's always good to identify what you want to be what kind of clients that you're looking for, and the terminologies that you want to be identified with them. And then coming back to that currency, the fresh content, if I could add to that, I think having a blog, and I noticed this for my own website, when I go without putting a new blog post for a month or more, I notice that my website visitors actually drop, because I haven't been putting out fresh content. I haven't been putting out new stuff, but I noticed that as soon as I put new content up, new information, I noticed that people are coming back to visit. So it is, as James mentions, that when you put new content up, not only do you get the visitors, but Google also loves fresh content, and when they see that it's the same stuff, they tend to push your rankings down because it's old stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Vanessa. I was quite interested in what people see when you open up a website. You've searched for a keyword. So yeah, that advice around picking up keywords is very good. And I know when I go into websites, I basically fire up, and the first 3 have the little yellow ad on it, and then basically you might have 5 or 6 below that, and I usually find what I'm looking for in the first 2, 3, 4. Being on the second page or the third page is almost irrelevant. How do you make sure, or are there ways that you can sort of encourage the likes of Google or whatever to have you in that first block below the ads? How do you do that?
That's a very good question. I get a lot of people that come to me and say, how do I be on the first page of Google? It's easier said than done. It really comes down to fresh content, the kind of keywords that you're putting in your website. One of the true mottos that I go by is content is king. You can have a great design, but your content is truly king. It's all about what you put in your website. We get customers that are sitting, ranked like second or third on Google, and it's all because we've worked with them to create content that suits what they sell. And it's like we can search, for example, I'll use one of my clients, Miracle Toys. You search handmade toys, and they're always the second or third customer that will always, or the second or third search result that will come up on Google. So I've just taken another quick look, which I'll show you guys if you'll let me screen share. Here we go. So you'll see, just bear with me, as I scroll down, that will zoom out. So you'll notice that third result there, Miracle Toys, that was the client, and it's all come down to how you use your content very wisely, and ensuring that you're putting the right keywords in there. So definitely, working on your content, keeping it fresh, and using the right keywords in your website will definitely be right at the top.
Isn't it to do with reviews as well? Does that play a part in that?
Yes and no. It really depends if because Google picks up reviews on some sites and it doesn't on other sites. But the more 5-star, 4 to 5-star reviews you get, they can also help when it comes to an e-commerce site. It can help get you boosted because you're seen as a reliable or a reliable shop to be shopping with. But yeah, it is probably, I would recommend, if you want to get to the top, to have your shop getting people to review it on Google rather than getting them to review it on your site directly. Just because of the fact that Google likes reviews on their own system more than they do on a website, as just a general practice that we've put into place. And if they don't want to put a review on Google, at least ask them to put a review on Facebook, because usually Google will make the connections between your Facebook and your website as long as there's links on both. So as long as you've got a link on your website back to your Facebook, and as long as you've got a link on your Facebook back to your website, Google usually picks up that it's a that they're both the same thing, and in that way it'll help kind of also boost you as a reliable shop to be shopping through.
It sounds this certainly sounds like a topic that I'll need to set up a different webinar for, because this is actually
definitely it's a very in-depth topic, but yeah, I think it would definitely be.
It's an SEO topic. It sounds like
really is.
And if going through the keywords trying to find, because keyword research is another part of it. You know, you want to find out whether people are actually typing in the term that you want to be found for. Because if you put down, let's say, for example, going back to Ricky, because we started with your question, so, you know, it may be that you want to be appearing on the first page of Google for the terms good decisions, or how do I make a good decision? And if we go and research on the Google keyword tool, do people actually type that term, and how many are there? So that's another really important part of your research to go through before you spend too much time trying to optimize for that keyword when there's actually, you know, maybe 1 or 2 or less than 10 people searching for it throughout the entire world. So it's really, really important to find out those kind of information. But not only that, Google actually has a suggested keywords. So when you type in good decisions, what it does, it also suggests, just like Amazon, it also has a list of keywords that could relate to what people are typing for.
That's good to know. Thank you.
It's all right.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just one around. Given that there's an increasing range of devices that are able to we can use to access the web.
Yeah.
I think I remember reading somewhere recently, maybe last year, that Google had changed their sort of ranking algorithms to
That's correct.
to push down mobile unfriendly websites.
Yeah.
Do the sort of the low end guys like say WordPress and Weebly, etc. Are there sites automatically mobile friendly?
I'm just gonna show you guys. So I'll show you via my cam, and then I'll show you via the browser. Keep in mind that that has got a broken slider at the moment. I do have to fix that. But here's that Miracle Toy site again. Yep. So that's on mobile, so I can scroll through. It's all set on the screen. It's not pushed off. It's very mobile friendly. Yep. Very easy to use. To get a lot of mobile traffic. Now, okay, hang on, just bear with me. And then.
Oh, James, where's it gone?
It clicked off.
It just disappeared. James, come back.
It must have shut down the wrong window.
Okay, I might have to bring him back. We'll have to. Email, which I can't find.
Actually, James might know, isn't there? I heard that there's actually a link that you can enter in, and Google will show you what your website looks like to see if it's actually mobile friendly. Do you know that? Do you know about that, Vanessa?
I think, I believe there was a website that I recall circulating around about that. I'm just sending him the link on Facebook to see if he can get back in. He's probably still talking, but he doesn't know he's not in here. It's funny technology.
Get his page.
Oh, there he is.
All right, there we go. Sorry, not sure what happened there. Just
what happened to you? You just disappeared.
Random broadband dropout there, so I apologise about that. Anyway, so getting back on topic, so as I was discussing as we were discussing about websites being able to be used on multiple devices, and I'm just going to screen share with you guys. So you'll notice, as long as I actually go over to the right screen. Sorry, just bear with me. It is not liking me all of a sudden. There we go. Alright, so let's maximize that to a full screen. There we go. Can you guys all see that?
Yep. Good.
Alright, so you notice it's a lot different compared to mobile, but it works across both mobile and desktop. I do apologize about all the images being missing. Unfortunately, the other day the site did break, and because it is a heavily custom coded site, I've got to go in and actually repair it.
Right.
But it doesn't need to be heavily custom coded to work. So if I drag and drop and see what. Oops, sorry, just bear with me. I'll just go back to that screen sharing because it glitched out there for a second. Alright, so as you'll notice, I can fully resize that as I go through. So I can stretch that browser out, and and WordPress. This is a WordPress site, and so I can stretch it out and watch as it stretches. It will adjust to the screen size. And you're probably thinking, oh, it only does that because it's built by a professional. However, this isn't the case. This is a customer that I gave a copy of the theme to, and I said, build your own website. So let's scroll down. So you'll see it's all in the way she's done it. Now let's try and change the size of that browser. So, notice as we get smaller, it actually fits onto the screen and adjusts with the screen. So WordPress works really well with mobile. It is probably one of the easiest platforms to work with mobile. And yeah, it would definitely be, if I was to recommend someone to go mobile, it would be the platform that I would recommend for someone to move on to.
Cool.
So that, I think it really comes back down to the theme as well, as making sure that your theme works well on mobile as well as desktop, because different themes have different styles. So yeah, it's just about checking that out. If you're going to use a theme, make sure it works for all devices the way you want it to.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, thanks.
Excellent.
All right. Any other questions?
Oh, Narelle, do you want to ask him that question?
Oh, it was just I thought that whether it's through Google or something, isn't there or is there a site you could enter in and you enter your website and it actually shows you what it looks like and whether it's its rating of being
yes, all right. Yeah. Let me just see if I can hunt down that tool. I've got it here.
Of course you know.
I was told a little while ago, but I didn't make a note of it.
That's all right. Hang on. I'm just going to chuck a link to that in the chat. So this is an awesome tool. Keep in mind that this isn't 100% accurate.
Hello to the people that are watching on YouTube, because I can see some viewers on YouTube. Hello.
So there's definitely, I've just chucked a link up in the chat, so it'd be a link that would suggest a bookmark. It's a great link for testing your website. Keep in mind that it's not 100% accurate because there are certain things that Google doesn't pick up through that tool. However, it would be a tool that I would recommend if you're really that concerned and you want to check that it's going to at least pass Google's criteria, that you use that tool to definitely check it and make sure that your site does fit the criteria. However, it's very rare for me to ever come across a site that's been done on WordPress or such a platform that's not mobile friendly and doesn't fit the Google criteria.
I think that looks coming up.
And I'll also chuck a link in the description when the video is published on YouTube, so you can reference back to it. Alrighty, any other questions? No? Alrighty.
That's all good.
Thank you very much.
No problem. All right. Well, yeah, I guess we can say thank you very much for coming along and and listening along to to the advice that we had tonight and asking questions, because one of the things that I can't stress enough to my customers, if you're unsure, don't be afraid to ask. because the worst case scenario is always waking up to a message at 5 a.m. saying, "Help! I was playing with my website last night and I broke it and now it's not working." So it's always, never hesitate to ask. I know Vanessa knows that experience very well because I've had some 1 a.m. messages come across that my client has broke their web, or not just Vanessa, but many developers that have messaged me. Oh no, my client broke their website. It's 1 a.m. How soon can you get it fixed? So definitely, if you're unsure or you're afraid or you don't know how to approach something, don't hesitate to ask. And I'm sure there'll be someone around that can definitely help answer your questions.
All right.
Fantastic.
And also, as to all you guys here in the live chat room and to everyone that does watch the replay, and as I have offered in the past in the SBN group, anyone that would like to look at getting a dummy web, or firstly a free hour consultation with Delta Tech NZ to help analyze what you do need for your website or what you need for your online services, that include your domain names, your hosting, what platform your website should be on, what's the cheapest way or what's the most cost efficient way to go about it. And also we're offering a awesome 25% off our hosting plans until the 1st of, or we're going to extend it to the 1st of April to any SBN members or people that are involved in our webinars that would like to look at getting our website up and running, but can't afford to currently invest a lot. Well, this is an awesome way. This brings it down from about $115 to about $70ish, plus the cost of your domain to get a website up and running. So
yeah, definitely.
Sounds good, James.
Yeah. So anyway, Vanessa, would you like to close us out with anything?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to you for your time and actually being here to help us understand, and all the people that are going to watch the replay, because this is now going to be a record going into the future, and we're going to put it in this new website that you're actually building for us. So we're going to put this as one of the replays and the videos that are available to our member forever, and put it in there so that you can always go back and refresh your knowledge, and as things change we'll also do this sometime in the future. And I thank you so much, James, for sharing your knowledge and answering all our questions, and I'm sure you'll be back again sometime not too far away, because our focus is around online and that's an area that you have a strength for. And I want to thank our panelists, shall I say, all our contributing members that are here in the room with us on the webinar, for contributing and doing this discussion, because it certainly does help build up the Solopreneur Business Network, and I'm expecting a lot more going forward, that this room might actually be full, because it can only hold up to 10, I believe, and there'll be plans are that we'll have more than 10 people watching. But for those who are going to be watching the replay, thank you for your interest and your support, and I hope the webinar has been useful to you. And if you ever have any questions at all, James has given his hand up and said don't hesitate to contact him. Hopefully he's not going to be 24 hours, if everyone were to request all that 60-minute consultation, James.
No, definitely will be a bit of a queue, I imagine, but I'm more than happy to help out. And I do apologize about the little distractions here and there. I was just checking in and out from my emails and Facebook messages along the way. I've currently got 23 unread messages sitting on my Facebook waiting to be answered and 10 unread emails. So you can imagine what my life is like as a very busy web developer.
So thank you so much. So I guess just pass along to everyone to say their goodbyes, and we'll be back again. So the plan is next week as well, same time, we're going to be hosting on a different topic, and so going forward it's going to be a weekly event. And if we get more demand for this, it may be that we do host a Thursday and a Tuesday, and each and everyone has a certain skill and a certain speciality that we want to feature you, because in the end you're also going to be on YouTube, and we're going to help you, whoever's going to type in the keyword that we're going to be presenting about, at least you can pop up and be known out there. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, James. That was great.
No problem.
Thanks, James.
Yes,
Thanks,
no problem. Like I said, yeah, any questions, fire on over to the group. We're always around.
Yeah.
I'm always around at random hours, more than likely, to answer your questions. So if I don't get back to you instantly, I will get back to you as soon as I can.
Yep.
All right. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.